You know, the internet has created more millionaires than literally any economic force in human history. That's just a fact. But let's look at the deeply uncomfortable truth that nobody selling a course actually wants to talk about. The internet is also an enormous, sprawling graveyard. I mean, we're talking about a graveyard of abandoned blogs, dead YouTube channels, and half-finished online courses just gathering digital dust. So the question isn't really whether it's possible to make money online, because it clearly is. The real question we need to answer in this explainer is why the overwhelming majority of people who try completely fail.
Yeah, and that failure rate, it's almost never about a lack of opportunity, right? It's all about having the wrong expectations. As the saying goes, they want the harvest without planting. Exactly. People want that passive income flowing in while they sleep, but they desperately want to skip the active, unglamorous work that makes that passive income possible in the first place. They want the harvest without planting the seeds. And honestly, the internet is exceptionally good at selling exactly this fantasy, usually for about $997 plus a free bonus workbook.
Which brings us to our first major trap, Section 1, the preparation trap, and why smart people fail online.
So, if the opportunity is actually as massive as everyone says, why do highly motivated, smart people fail so often? Because they fall right into this preparation trap. They end up optimizing for appearance instead of actual output. You'll see someone spend 3 entire weeks designing a quote-unquote perfect logo. They'll agonize over a business name for a whole month. They buy every single course available before ever attempting the topic themselves. By doing all this endless preparation, they're actually avoiding the only thing that matters, putting something real into the world.
Right, and psychologists actually have a specific term for this, productive procrastination. It's an activity that feels like work and uses the vocabulary of work but produces none of the feedback, failure, or iteration that actual work produces.
Hit the nail on the head. It feels like you're doing something, but this psychology actively prevents you from building real skills. Because let's be real, feedback and failure, those are what actually build the knowledge you need to earn a living.
So the correction to this trap is incredibly uncomfortable for most people. You must ship something imperfect, immediately. Just write the first blog post with a bad headline. Post that first YouTube video knowing full well the audio quality is terrible. Send the first cold email knowing the pitch needs work. Look, nobody gets better at swimming by reading a book about swimming. The internet doesn't reward perfection. It rewards consistency, specificity, and showing up long after everyone else has quit. Okay, so let's pivot to part 2, the mechanics. What are the 3 income models that actually work once you stop procrastinating?
Right. How do people practically make the money? It essentially reduces to 3 core models, and they completely dismantle that whole passive income myth. First up is service, selling a skill directly to clients. This is your fastest path. We're talking months to see income, but your scale is limited by your time. Next is content, which means building an audience. Now this is slow, it takes 1 to 3 years, easily, but it has a massive, asymmetric upside. Finally, there's product, like digital courses or software. This has huge scale, but it carries a massive requirement. You have to have existing distribution and trust.
But what does that asymmetric upside actually look like for the slow, long game with content? Well, to put it in perspective, consider a YouTube channel with 500,000 subscribers. That channel earns money around the clock, continuously from content that was posted years ago. The work compounds in ways that service income simply never can. That right there is the massive upside of patience.
But we really need to return to that third model, product income, because we've got to shatter this digital course shortcut myth. Products succeed because of distribution. Distribution requires trust, and trust requires time. Almost everyone who succeeds with product income already has an existing audience or a really successful service business first. The overnight shortcut that everyone is trying to sell you, it simply does not exist.
This takes us to part 3, zero experience required. The blueprint for beginners.
Now you might be watching this thinking, okay, but I have literally 0 experience. How do I even start? Here's the thing. Experience is acquired by doing, not by having. You don't get experience and then start. You start, and in starting, you get the experience. This totally demystifies all those complex strategies sold by fake gurus down to 3 grounded actions. 1. Identify one specific thing you can offer. 2. Find one specific person who needs it. And 3. Make contact. Honestly, everything else you hear online is just a refinement of those 3 steps.
Can you give us a tangible example of that? Like, how fast can someone actually learn a skill? Absolutely. 30 to 60. That is the number of hours it takes a total beginner to learn the fundamentals of a video editing program. The demand for editors is massive right now. You don't need a fancy degree at all. You can literally create a portfolio today just by editing publicly available footage and then immediately start pitching to active creators.
And Let's ground this in hard reality. What does that actually yield? A competent freelancer in almost any field, whether it's editing, writing, design, can reach $3,000 to $5,000 a month within 6 to 12 months of focused effort. The floor is remarkably accessible, but only if you are willing to put in the unglamorous work.
So if we're looking at the most accessible paths for a true beginner, we're talking about freelance writing where the only barrier is your willingness to write and pitch, no degree required. Then video editing, which has high demand and lets you practice on public footage. And virtual assistants, which might be the fastest path if you don't have technical skills, but you're super organized and a great communicator.
Exactly. None of these require upfront capital to start, just the willingness to begin without a perfect portfolio.
Finally, let's look at part 4, the mindset shift, going from finding to building. This is the absolute psychological paradigm difference between the very few who succeed and the millions who fail. The toxic finding mindset asks, where's the money and how do I get some? It's passive, it's extractive, and frankly, it treats the internet like a slot machine. The building mindset, however, is active and generative. It treats the internet as an extraordinary distribution system used to connect a specific solution with the exact people who need it.
There's a great quote that captures this perfectly. What can I create that did not exist before, and who would genuinely benefit from it? When you really think about it, that completely reframes the entire goal. You're no longer just trying to extract cash, you're actively providing a specific, valuable solution.
Exactly. But look, I want to be entirely honest with you. Making this psychological shift is not easy. It requires accepting that your timeline to success is going to be a lot longer than you want it to be. It requires actively resisting the enormous volume of shortcut content pushed into your feeds every single day. And most importantly, it requires finding deep satisfaction in the unglamorous process of building rather than just dreaming about the result.
The people who make a true living online aren't just lucky, and they rarely have completely unique talents. They just started building, and they refuse to stop. So we're going to leave you with this final challenge. It is time to stop researching, stop preparing, and stop productively procrastinating. As soon as this explainer ends, close the window, sit down, and answer this exact question. What imperfect thing will you ship today? The graveyard is full. Go build something.